Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, also known as your sewing buddy. Normally what I do here is talk at you while you create, craft, whatever your thing is that you do. Today though, I want to take you through my fabric stash. Some of this is nicely folded, some of this is a hot mess. I don't know the fiber content on most of these because they're either bargain basement or gifted or found, or I've had them for way too long. But I thought it would be fun to go through because it's around that time of year where I want to sort through it, see what I can get rid of, what is set aside for projects, and actually put that in a space where it will be buried again, because that's how these things go. But let's get started. Top shelf here, I have some very nice black eyelet. This is mostly cotton. There may be some synthetic in there as well, but I'm pretty sure it's all cotton. Don't have any specific plans for this yet. Probably good for a skirt. I have some pinstripe I picked up from Bargain Basement at Costume College. I don't know if, there it is. You can see that nice pinstriping, sort of a charcoal gray color. I was in a very pinstripe mood this past year at Costume College, so I got quite a few. This I got for the Bumblebee project. It's a very loose, soft faux fur, sort of poodle texture, but this would be good for collars or a muff or really many things, but it's just so snuggly. This I picked up originally for the Bumblebee project, but I didn't wind up using it. It's a pre-pleated, very synthetic material. I think it's all polyester. It has this white backing to it to keep the pleats. I don't know if it's, yeah, it is actually adhered onto the white backing. So there's a tip for you if you've got a lot of time. Just pleat your material onto fusible interfacing, I guess, and press it down. I don't personally vouch for it. I haven't tried it, but it looks like that's what they did there in a very factory manufacturing setting. This is another slightly more subtle pinstripe, a little bit darker color. Again, these pinstripes are probably going to become skirts or something. This one I can tell is actual wool just from the feel of it. There might be some poly content, but again, just very subtle. Here we have some nice dark brown lining material. Not sure if it's I know there's some synthetic because it's shiny. Might be some silk as well, but always good to have lining material around. This is a black gauze. It's heavier than most that I see, but it's got that crinkly texture to it. And I think it's natural fiber. Not positive. Let me see if I can get you a texture shot on it. Yeah. Don't know what I plan to make out of it, but I thought it was cool, so I grabbed it from Bargain Basement. If you do make it to Costume College, Bargain Basement is dangerous, but kind of necessary. This is a entirely polyester synthetic satin. It's a costume satin, very lightweight. I think this is either a material I got for my friend's daughter's Halloween costume one year, or this might also have been for my Shy Violet from Rainbow Bright cosplay, which was one of my first cosplays, and it turned out terribly. Either way, this is something I hope never to have to use. I'm probably going to take it to Bargain Basement this year. I can do so much better these days. you know, when you first start out with costuming, you're like, I'm just gonna get cheap shit. I don't want to ruin expensive stuff. Whereas this is a nice blue taffeta. Look at that sheen on it. It's the perfect blue. I don't know what it needs to be, but it needs to be something, definitely a costume. This I couldn't make into something that I would wear for every day, but I don't know what it wants to be yet, but I want it to be something. This actually came from my mom's fabric stash. It's an upholstery thickness material. Again, very synthetic, but I love this little embroidered detail and the tiny pink roses. I tried to make myself a Renaissance bodice out of it. I failed on the darts for that. I think that one is still in a bin somewhere. But, you know, for LARPing, this is a good item to have. Oh, I do also have a belt pouch made out of that. It doesn't have a flap on it, it just hangs open, but belt pouches always useful. Like, if you're in any kind of fantasy setting, belt pouch. Ooh, here is an incredibly synthetic, incredibly pink material. I don't even want to call it a satin because it's stiff. I mean, technically, I guess it is a satin. It's a one-side satin, so you can see the other side is much more dull. I don't know what I would actually use this for. I'm not even sure why I have it, but it's so pink. And if you need a pink, you need a pink. So I'm torn on whether to keep it or get rid of it, which probably means I should get rid of it. Ooh. Next, we have this lovely brown linen, sort of rust colored. It's coming out a lot more red on video than it actually is. It's got this nice surged edge to it here, which means that whoever used it last took the time to actually make sure that the cut edge wouldn't fray, because you can see this is the selvage here. So yeah, this very useful, probably skirt or I don't even know what. But this, I think, was given to me by Dorothy for the costume college where I was working entirely off of my stash and the stash of generous friends. So I should either use it or give it to Bargain Basement, because Bargain Basement goes to scholarships for costume college. And originally that's where this was destined for. So if I don't wind up using it before costume college, that's where it's going to. Ooh. This one, again, it's very synthetic, but it has these tiny little daisies on it. These are, I feel like it wants to be a 1940s dress. Like the old patterns that I have, I feel like one of those is calling out for this. So this one has a purpose. This is actually a fairly nice black satin. It is still a synthetic satin, but it's thicker than the costume stuff. Not quite a bridal satin, but always useful to have. Probably maybe underneath the eyelet black that I have, just to give it a little bit of pop through sheen. Otherwise, I don't know. Just black fabric always handy. This from Bargain Basement I had to have. Again, I don't know what it wants to be yet, but it wants to be something and it wants to be on me. I'm thinking long vest, because it is a good drapey material. I don't know what kind of material, but just that little shiny diamond detail and the color blue. I wonder how this would work with that blue taffeta. No, this is too dull of a blue and that one's too bright. But yes, this is waiting for something. So once upon a time, someone asked me to make them a Belle from Beauty and the Beast dress, and being the silly Lauren that I am, I went and bought fabric before any kind of deposit was made. So I have all of this yellow satin. This is, again, a decent satin. It's, again, still synthetic, but it's not costume weight. It's a little bit denser, so I feel like Dorothy might have been looking for a yellow satin, but I know she got something else that works. But yeah, it doesn't have any more plans now that the Bumblebee is done and the Belle project fell through. It's on hand for something, and I have a few yards of it, so if I need something yellow, I've got that covered. This deep teal blue velvety non-stretch fabric. Once upon a time, I made a 1910s-ish dress out of it. I wasn't thoroughly happy with how that turned out, so I think it's gone into a scraps bag. But I could always try again because I think I have enough. This I got because it is a super cute plaid. This needs to be a jumper skirt or a romper or something just cute and fun. So I have enough of it to do whatever I decide to do with that. This is another gift from Dorothy. It's a sort of sea green linen. Again, this is something that will either be used by this costume college or it will go to the bargain basement for costume college. No specific plans for it. And if Dorothy wants it back, then she knows where it is, and I'll see her at costume college also. This I picked up actually from the marketplace in costume college. It's this really neat bubbly texture organza. No fixed plans for it yet, but this would be a really fun overlay if I wanted something. How do these work? Ooh, I could be the Little Mermaid turning into sea foam. Okay, this is a maybe project next year. I have some white linen left over from, actually is that the linen or oh, this is the cotton lawn. This is the linen left over from my shift class, I think. And then this is left over from my combinations. So good to have on hand. Here I have some costume weight white satin. I would rather not, so I think that's gonna go with the bargain basement. So if you're looking for costume weight satin, check out Costume College Bargain Basement in 2020. Here's a very thin sort of peachy gauze. I would not. Bargain basement. I have some orange something. The LARP I play in Dark Prospects, orange is a color to denote out of game. So this would be good for headbands for that, or for covering an item that is large and modern but needs to be on site. So say suitcase or a tote or something like that. Although, LARP tip, cover your tote with a piece of pretty cloth, it becomes a table. Here is very silver, very pretty satin. This one is a better weight. It's got a really kind of unique texture to it too. It's not super smooth like satin, but I think that just denotes maybe it's a little bit even more synthetic. I'm not sure, but this is what I use for sword covering if I have a metal sword that needs to look like a sword. I mean, not an actual metal sword, but a foam sword that needs to look like metal. Here's a bit of gray fleece, always handy to make something a little bit more warm. Good to keep with you for winter LARP, to just add an extra layer to the bed or wrap yourself up in during a combat so you don't freeze to death. It's a little bit of sort of light blue poly cotton. When I say a little bit, like it's half a yard. That may be something that just needs to go away, because half a yard of anything is not going to do much unless you're using it as an accent. This one I think is a more, this might actually be completely cotton, but a little bit more of a robin's blue, and also very little bit of it, so might have to go away. Ooh. Here's a tiny bit of sparkly navy organza. This was my first modern fashion project since I started sewing seriously. I used this as an underlayer on the dress I wore to my cousin's wedding, which then later on became a TARDIS dress. This is so polyester, so blue, so nothing I would want to force anyone to wear. Here is some good white coutil. Yes, coutil. So good corseting material. I have quite a bit left because I over-ordered because I knew I was going to mess up my first one, which I did. It was a little too small. And I found it on a good deal, so I just used that for my mock-up, because then if it turned out right, then I didn't have to recut. Let's see this. I think this has a little, yeah, this is a one-way stretch, sort of a silvery gray cotton. Again, no specific plans for it, but no real need to get rid of it either. It's, I mean, it's a good sturdy weight, just the one-way stretch. I gotta be selective with what I do with it. We're still on the first shelf. There are 4 of these, but the other ones aren't quite so tightly packed. More blue cotton, poly cotton. That I know because this one has a little bit of a sheen to it and isn't wrinkling so easily. No plans. Could probably get rid of it. This, once upon a time, I decided I was going to make a bunch of cute little skirts. A-line skirts with fun fabric pockets. I think originally I got this to do a Bustle era Huntress costume, but that costume group didn't pan out. So that's what I used the fabric for, was those skirts, which I tried to sell. No one wanted because they're a little bit kitschy. But I've still got some purple poly cotton. Some more costume weight purple satin. We know where that's going. This cow print, very slightly fuzzy. I'm not sure really. This was a free cycle find. Someone said that they had a bunch of fabric that they wanted to get rid of, so I took it in, and so I've had this for 10 years now. It might be time for it to go. I don't need to be a cow anytime soon. This Jody got for me to make him a shirt out of. Has little tiny hash marks. It's very synthetic though. I don't think he would like wearing this shirt. I might line it and make a suit. I don't know. It exists. But it does technically have a purpose, so I can't just get rid of it. This is very polyester fabric that I got for the 1960s year of costume college. This was from my sci-fi novel cover costume for when I taught a class about how to take an art image and translate it into costuming, like how to figure out what material is that, where's the closure, how is it put together, that sort of stuff. Here's a very blue synthetic satin. I know I got this for a specific reason, I just can't remember what. This, I made LARPing pants for my friend Davio. This was left over from that. Do I need to keep it? I'm going to worry about what to keep and what to get rid of when I work on putting everything back in here, or before I work on putting everything back in there. Right now I'm just piling it up on the couch. This I thought was cute, but it is stretchy. Actually, it's not too bad, but it's got these cute little details to it. I think I was going to make some flowy pants to go with a sort of blue pinstripe, which I'm not sure I still have. So if I don't have that, then that's probably not something I need to keep either. This flannel I got for a mock-up of a friend's corset, which this was my first real corset attempt. So that's where we learn you use a similar fabric to do the mock-up and the corset. But it's really cute, and I want to make something really cute out of it, like, I don't know, a little jammy set. Oh, maybe I could make another combinations romper out of it. That'd be cute. This, I think, was a gift from a friend. It's rayon, sort of tropical look to it. I don't need to keep this. Some dark brown duck cloth, which could actually be useful. Good for if I wanted to play with steampunk, or if I wanted to find something else to match this with. That's actually a really cute combination. I think that's where we're gonna go. All right, that at least has a partner. This one is kind of cool because it has, like, it's not just solid gray, but no specific plans. Very synthetic. Everything I have is so synthetic. Sort of peachy chiffon. This was for a Little Mermaid Disney bound I made for someone. So this was like the sleeves and upper part of the chest, and then from here down it was purple cotton, and then there was the, I don't have it anymore, but this shiny roses printed on it fabric for the skirt. Or not roses printed on it, but like ruffled on it. You know the fabric I'm talking about. Everyone has seen that fabric. So this is sort of a deep orangey red poly cotton, very poly cotton. I can feel it coming up again. A lot more red on camera than it actually is. No plans, but it's what it is. This was part of that Free Cycle fabric find. It has these gorgeous butterflies on it. One day I will figure out what I want to do with that. I know this is an accent fabric. This isn't like a whole garment fabric, You just have to decide what that garment is. This is another one from my mom's fabric stash. I've made bloomers out of this. Very comfy, very warm for winter bloomers. It's just got cute little flowers on it. It's a flannel-y fabric. I like it. It's cute. It's a good soft pink. This is not a good soft pink. This was from the Renaissance Twilight Sparkle that I made for someone. And it's, again, a poly cotton, because Fabrics R Us has like $2 a yard poly cotton. So if I'm just like, I want the look, I don't care if it's a little bit cartoony, that's my go-to. This next one was my mistake. For my Fluttershy Renaissance, it is the terrible stretch velvet. I don't want it. Get it away. Some nice soft yellow polyester. This was for my first Fluttershy, which was my first costume college gala gown. It's since been totally remade, but this was for the bodice of it. I tried to do sort of a 1920s evening gown. No. But I was young and foolish. This is the organza I used for my Babes in Toyland dress. I don't think I need to hang on to it because it's not my favorite color at all. And I don't need to remake that dress. I could save it in case I need to do repairs. Here we have some yellow cotton-ish. I have a lot of this same sort of yellow because, again, that was, I think this is what I used for, no, this is what I used for the sleeves on my Fluttershy Renaissance dress. This was the lining for my Babes in Toyland dress. That's what that was. This is a very nice burgundy hat. Seems like it's mostly cotton too. I don't remember where it came from specifically, but I like that color. This was from a doublet I made for someone. The pattern is really cool. It's got those gold swirls in it along with all the burgundy and orange and yellow, so it kind of looks fiery. Very fun. More blue cotton. Poly cotton. Checking for the sheen. Not a lot of it, but I could do something blue and patchwork with all these. Some more of this, which I think is the same as that first one. I should have probably stacked them together, but that first one is buried now. And some nice sky blue. This one's a little bit more sheer. Might be actual cotton, but I think it's still synthetic partly. And some cat fluff, or no, that's other fabric fluff. This was the sash for Jodie's, what's his name? Shining Armor for the Renaissance Fair. Now we are on to shelf 2. I have a lot of this orange linen. I don't know what I need all of this orange linen for. I think this also came from Dorothy. So this should also go to Bargain Basement if I'm not going to use it. Unless I decide that I want to do something orange, but that's not really my color. Ooh. This was another Bargain Basement find. This is corduroy. It's this gorgeous sort of deep gray blue. This needs to be a winter dress. Oh, button up. A button up dress. Long, sort of the vest top. That's what that's going to be one day. one day when I'm all caught up, as we all say. There goes my shelf. I'll fix that in a second. So this is an upholstery fabric. It is scratchy as hell, but if I line it right, it's this gorgeous purple with these little pink and blue dots. That could be something really cool. This came from an auction from a fabric store that was going out of business. I got an insane amount of fabric for about $15. I have bolts and bolts in my friend's basement because she has graciously decided to host them for me while I work through some of this and get to a point where I need more fabric. Or even get to a point where I have something to use those fabrics for. This was another one from that same auction lot. Sort of stripy, again, upholstery thickness. And again, these would be good jackets, vests, as long as I line them, because they are upholstery fabrics. This is kind of cool. It's got stripies. They're rather big stripies, but if I were doing, I don't really know what I would do with this. But it's stripy and it's cool and I wanted it. More costume weight satin, light and fray and white and silver. This is a green cotton. Very green. Green screen green. Don't know what I would do with that small amount of green unless, I don't know. I should stop trying to justify why I have these things and just accept that there are things I need to get rid of. Like this, which would only be good for lining white, shiny polyester, loosely knit, not satin. This I've had since my friend Lena and I stopped sewing together. I've used it for mock-ups. I could make a rag rug out of it. I started a rag rug, I don't know if I still have it here. I started one in high school and never really finished it, and I think I finally might have decided to cast it away. This faux suede is amazing for LARP gear. If you want something to look like suede without worrying about caring for it like suede, this is machine washable. It doesn't have a lot of stretch. No, it doesn't have any stretch to it, but it even feels kind of like suede. So the only concern is it does have a little bit of that shine, but it's like, This material, I think this was also from that Free Cycle, or it was from my mom's stash, but it has these gorgeous sort of, they feel like Roman columns almost. I made Jody a doublet out of this, and it's stunning. It was one of the first things I made for him. I don't think it fits anymore, though. This is a black cotton with this really cool embroidery on it. I'm going to, one day I will make a skirt out of this. It's just too much fun not to. Like, look at this. This is orange. This is orange something flex, I think. I have a lot of it. I think this was another thing that came from Dorothy, and another thing that should go to the bargain basement. Which, since I drive down with Dorothy, I can set aside like this amount of space is going, this amount of space in the car is going for bargain basement. This is another purple satin. Somehow I wind up with so much purple satin. It's thicker than the costumey weight, not as shiny though. Forget what it was from, but this came from a former employer who had all of this knit fabric that she didn't know what to do with. So on the one side it's very soft, on the other side you can actually see the knit. I am not experienced sewing with knit. This might be a good material to practice with. This is a purple, well, light purple polyester, scratchy, sheer, maybe rayon, not polyester. I don't like the feel of it. I like the color of it. So this is something that would be an outer layer over a lot of lining. This is a slightly heavier silver satin, again very good for weapon covering, which I think is why it's cut into this weird shape. As you can see, it does fray, but it'll cover a boffer when you need it to. This is leftover material from a dress and handbag I made for a friend, an ex-friend. This we actually got off Spoonflower. It's her family tartan. If she wants it, she can contact me. And here we have some silver. I want to say lame. I kind of want to say mylar. It's silver. It is silver and shiny, and that's what I had to say about that. Plastic. This is what I used for the pockets on that the purple skirts I was talking about earlier, because it added that really cute kitschy element, like big hand-sized pocket, patch pocket. I like it. Here's more of that faux suede in a different color. A little bit of blue wool, I think left over from Jodie's Victorian military uniform. This is some very red line. Oh, this is what I was trying to make my bouncing ball out of. That didn't work. I don't want it. This material, again from Bargain Basement, it's this cool silver pinstripe. I've made a shirt out of it. I used it in a skirt. I am currently remaking that skirt for one of the customers at work because it turned out really cool. I love this material. I can't find it anywhere. Like, I checked, anywhere I see it, it's out of stock. So if you know where to get this silver pinstripe cotton, it's vaguely see-through, and you can see it's like 1/2 inch stripes. Please let me know where I can get this. I would love to get more of it. I want all of this in my life forever. Now we're getting into some things that are set aside for projects. Not this though. I mean, this is something I would use for a project. This is a vaguely stretchy, almost denim in black, which when I really need a black something, I got that. This is going to be the gray walking dress from Moulin Rouge. It's a very nice gray pseudo wool, close enough to wool that it'll count. This is the material I got for the rehearsal dress. It's not quite canon because it's the embroidery instead of like a brocade, but it's close enough for jazz. This is the linen undyed I got to try to remake the Tarkan dress. I know the Tarkan dress actually has a stripe on it. I found that out after I purchased the fabric though. So I'm just going to make a less fancy version one day. And I will definitely like document all of that. This is some black satin, which I think is the underskirt for the rehearsal dress. Some red satin, but I don't think I specifically have a plan for. So I think it was just that third shelf that had that plan. We're on the bottom shelf now, almost there. But this is a really good red, and one day it will be something gorgeous. This I think also came from Bargain Basement. It's curtains, but it's got this really cool pattern on it, embroidered. Very synthetic, but from a distance it could pass as silk, so I will figure out something for that. This I got for sort of history bounding. I started to make 18th century stays with this as the fashion fabric. And then I was gonna do like a cute short skirt with it. No, I had not seen Bernadette's video yet on the similar plan. I just thought it looked cool. And I was actually doing like bones and everything, so neither of us ripped the other one off. We just, great minds think alike. This is a black lining material, always handy. Black velveteen, if you please. I think that goes with the gray walking dress. Black linen, always handy. Black everything is handy. This is another one I used for the skirt that I'm remaking. It's, I don't know what it is except that it's synthetic. If you can tell this material just by the drape of it and the sound of it, please let me know what it is so that I can do some research and look into ordering more, because if I want to have this skirt manufactured, then I need to know what it's made out of. This is some off-white satin, ivory color. Blue wool, just solid wool, blue, not suiting wool. This is another thing that I think this needs to be a walking skirt, Bernadette Banner style, because I would wear the hell out of this. This was another Bargain Basement find. I love finding cool textures like that, especially scaly. I made a shirt out of it, but the sizing wasn't, like, I made it too big for myself, which, sorry, my stack just fell over. It's a rarity for me. Normally I make things too small. So it needs adjustments, but I have a lot left over and I love it. Oh! This, talk about pinstripe mood, pink and blue. I don't know what it needs to be, but it needs to stay in my life. I have so many of my own wardrobe plans, but none, like, I have to get through all of my custom college stuff before I can sew for me, I feel like, and that's stressful, so I should maybe take a break at some point and sew for myself. I mean, it's all sewing for me, but, you know, sew for, like, everyday me as opposed to custom college me. This is a cool wide pinstripe in dark gray. Almost there. These were curtains. This came from my friend Adrian. This is what I used for the trims on my purple gala dress from Custom College. This is some off-white poly cotton mock-up material. Some oogly beige poly cotton. Poly cotton or cotton? Cotton, I think. Just a very unfortunate color. Black corduroy left over from my American McGee's Alice Madness Returns steampunk level cosplay. More black poly cotton. White linen. something with a looser weave. Bright white poly cotton. Nice blue poly cotton. It's actually a really nice blue. Whatever this is, it looks like a Dupioni, sort of an olivey color. This would be really good for steampunk. This, I'm not sure what you call it. Is this a seersucker? I don't know, but it's cool. And it needs to be something. And this I grabbed, I think, from Bargain Basement just because it has this edge on it. It's like, were there more of it, it could be a Lolita skirt, but all of the edge that I have is that. So maybe the front panel on a skirt or a cute apron or something. Some brown linen. And last but not least, sequin chiffon. I mean, New Year's is coming up. Anyway, that's been my fabric stash. That doesn't include things that are on bolts. That doesn't include my UFO pile. It doesn't include lace, but that's what I have in my now empty shelves. So I'm gonna get to work filling those back up. I hope that you have created things. Talk to me about what you create. Do you want any of this fabric? Because we can talk. I can ship. Yeah, talk to me in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you hopefully next week.